Hello, Community Bible Church. This is Pastor Joel. I want to make another video for our upcoming members meeting on Sunday night. And so let me just remind you, Sunday night at 6 o'clock, we'll be having our members meeting. Now, everybody's invited, but obviously you have to be a member to actually vote. And so I encourage you, though, to mark that off and please be there. The meeting itself should be very quick. What we're shooting for is from 6 to 6:30, and then we'll be done here because really we got one thing to vote on, and that's whether to approve the loan so we can go ahead and get moving on with the groundbreaking and all of that as well here. And so if you have any questions, though, we will not have a time during that meeting itself for questions and answers. But rather, what we're going to do instead is we'll have two different times that you can actually come and ask questions. So both on Saturday night at 5:30. So just really kind of whenever the Saturday night service wraps up and everybody gets out of the sanctuary, then we'll invite you back into to asking questions then. And also on Sunday afternoon, the 2 hours prior to the meeting, so from 4 to 6. And so really we'll have, 3, 4, 5, however many hours you need on Saturday night and then Sunday afternoon as well there to ask those questions. So there'll be plenty of time to ask and get all the questions and answers that you might have there. But then the meeting itself, we're going to try to keep really quick and brief there, just so for those that are in a hurry, they can come out and vote and then go on their merry way. I know it is Christmas time, a busy time of year, but nevertheless, I think it's going to be a wonderful night as we just celebrate once again what God is doing here in our church. And I wanted to take a few moments and just really answer a few of the questions that I have gotten from people here. Now, I'm not going to be doing really specifics with the financials or the loans during a public YouTube video. As you can imagine, that's just not the wisest thing to put kind of the minute details of the loan and all of that for an open public forum for anybody in the world to see on YouTube. But we will be able to give you all that information and plan on giving you all that information in the question and answer. And then in the meeting, we will also go briefly over all of that information there as well. So if you're a member here, you're definitely going to get all of that. I'm just not going to do it on YouTube, as you probably can understand why there. But nevertheless, there were still some questions, just generally speaking, that I wanted to still get to and also kind of give you some updates on where we are financially and what we're actually going to be voting on Sunday night. A few months ago, I gave an update that I was actually going to pursue and try to get us to be able not just to start building the sanctuary, but also build a youth building as well. That is still our plan. That is still what we want to do. But unfortunately, we were not able to get the full amount pre-approved that we would have needed to both do the sanctuary and the youth building. Instead, what we have been able to get pre-approved is just the sanctuary and lobby portion. And so that means then that the youth building is going to need to come a short time later. Now, it was always going to come a little bit later, even if we were able to get the full approval there, because we still would have had to do additional drawings and additional plans and things like that. So it's always going to be a little bit delayed, but unfortunately, it'll probably be even a little bit more delayed than what my original desire would have been. But nevertheless, we still are planning and hoping to get that built very, very soon in the future as well. Because the reason why we just weren't able to get the full funding is not that we're not doing really good right now. We really, really are. But rather, it was just that over the last 5 years, we have just grown so quickly here that we don't have the financial history, if you will, of being stable for the last several years. And so there was some apprehension to say, hey, is this a wise investment to give the above and beyond what initially we were approved for? And so because of that, we are actually able to be approved for enough funding that's going to be for the building of the sanctuary and the lobby, and that connects into our current building. So we're going to be able to do all of that there. But then a short time later, we will hopefully be able to start on the youth building, because if we have a year financially next year and over the next couple years, as we did this last year, we're looking at being able to pay this building off in the next few years, not a 30 year, not 20 years, not anything like that there. We believe that we'll be able to pay this off very, very quickly here. And so if we're able to get started and get rolling and even hopefully far exceed what we even would expect there, then we'll be able to turn around and also start on this youth building very quickly. But all that being said is that the youth building is not going to be voted on. The finances for the youth building is not going to be voted on today or anything like that. The most that's going to be done for that right now is we are going to do a little bit of the infrastructure, because it would just make sense when we're moving ground to be able to build enough of a septic tank for both buildings, for instance, instead of just the one building. So we're going to try to think ahead, and those things that we're going to have to do regardless, we'll go ahead and do that all at the same time there. But the building itself, we're not voting on that. That's not part of the consideration for this Sunday night. The only thing that we're going to be voting on is just for the loan that is needed for the sanctuary and the lobby space. The original designs, that if you haven't seen those pictures or you want more information, you can go on our website, cbible.org, in the building program page under the giving section there. You can see a lot more information in the pictures and all of that as well. And that's all that we are going to be proposing for on Sunday night. So I wanted just to update you on that. And then also there's a couple other questions that I was going to also just try to answer that I've gotten here. And so one question was like, hey, what about are we still doing the church plant? What's the deal with that? Because now we have to take out a loan. And here's the deal. Our plan is still the church plant. That is still the number one plan for us. And everything that we're doing even right now is in hopes to help us be able to plant more churches in the future. And so specifically for that church plant, our plan right now is to look to 2025. So not this upcoming January, but sometime in the following year after that is when we would send Ray and a team of people out to somewhere in here in Hernando County. And so starting next year, we are going to be getting a lot more intentional and a lot more directed with our announcements of probably where that church plant is going to be at and what that's going to look like. And we're going to start gathering the people that might be interested in that. And so we're going to be giving you a lot more information starting next year about that. And that's still moving forward. And that's still ultimately our goal here. Once again, financially speaking, and you'll be able to see this at the member meeting, we're doing very, very well. And so we are not concerned about being able to also pay off this church plant, pay off the church building, and also still do the church plant. But I want to reiterate this, is that whenever we do this, we have two goals in mind for the church plant. We want it to be good for them and a blessing to them. And then we're also going to do it in such a way that's going to be good for us here at Community Bible Church and a blessing to us. And so we're not going to put ourselves in a situation that would financially put us in jeopardy or anything like that. We've already started to think through that. And there's many different ways that you can do a church plan, especially one that's going to still be in our local area, because our hope is as they go out, yes, there'll be a different congregation eventually. And yes, they'll have the different preacher and things like that. But we still are connected to the body of Christ. And even more than that, there are still going to be our daughter church, our sister church. We are going to be tethered to them, hopefully until the Lord comes back again. And so what that means is that there's a lot of flexibility there. And so we don't know exactly how is going to be the best thing for us when that happens, but we might still be all under one organization up until that they are financially viable there. And we can continue to just invest in them, and they can invest back in us. And there's all sorts of ways that we can make this work out in a way that is going to be a blessing both to them and us as well. And so, but I just really wanted to reiterate that as we send them out, it is not going to be at the detriment of what is going on here, but rather it's going to be a blessing. Because if you know anything about church planting, by and large, one of the greatest ways just to spark revival right now is to plant more churches. So much so that whenever they send out, statistically speaking, usually the church that sent them out grows even more than they actually sent people out. So if we send 100 people out, we would expect to even grow by more than that. You know why? Because it's a sign of health. It's a sign that our church is caring for our community. It's a sign that God is moving here. And when that word gets out, it's just going to be an attractive thing to our community, because they want to say, you know what, that church is actually not just trying to build a kingdom here, but they are sending people out, and that's going to just cause even more interest there. And it's just a wonderful thing. And so we're going to be able to take the new people and the old people and everybody else in between and continually send them out, because our hope has never been to build a giant mega church, build a huge Taj Mahal. That is not what we're building. If that's your desire, I'm sorry, you're going to be let down. But rather, we're building a nice space, a space that's going to be able to house everybody. But then it's still going to be a very economical space, all things considering as well there. And so, but it's going to be big enough that we can just continually raise up people to send them out, Lord willing, starting in 2025, and then every 2 years after that would be our goal, just to continually raise up people and send them out as well. And as far as just continue, like questions I've gotten a couple times is like, hey, didn't we already raise money? I thought we raised enough money. And no, the matching campaign that we had over the summer was really for the down payment. So we have raised over, currently, I think in our building program, last time I checked earlier this week, is like $1.5 million currently in our building fund there. And in reality, we've raised more than that because we've also had to spend out a lot of money now, just getting all the permits and the contractors and all the drawings and all of that as well. So we've raised a good amount of money. The problem is, as you know, is it is expensive to build right now, and even more than that, just for it to build a building large enough to hold up to 600 people and to have the lobby space. And then not only that, I've heard that people like to actually sit down in church. And so we need chairs, and chairs can be $100 per chair there. There's all sorts of, new speakers that are going to be needed. Otherwise, I'm going to have to scream at the top of my lungs, which probably wouldn't be a good thing for very long. And all sorts of things that you might not have thought about are going to be also included in this loan to just make sure that not only are we building the building, but we're going to be building the things that are needed inside of it, the things that are going to be needed outside of it, like a septic tank and a parking lot, and all of those things all go into this loan there. And so that's why we are continuing to need this loan. But yet, as I'd mentioned in my last video here, that we sincerely believe, based on everything in the track record, and we'll show you more in detail in the question and answer in the members meeting here as well, that we will be able to pay this off very, very quickly. And so this is not something that we feel like we're going to be straddled to for the next couple, 2-3 decades or anything like that. But Lord willing, we're going to do our absolute best just to be able to get this building built and then completely be debt free in the next several years, as we just continue to try to raise up people and continually send them out one after the other as well, and reach this area for Jesus Christ. That is what we're doing. That is why we're doing it here. Is just to see more people fall in love with Jesus, to see his kingdom come here in Hernando County. What an exciting thing to be a part of as well. And so hopefully that answers just a few of the questions here. Like I said, we'll get into more of the nitty gritty during the question and answer times this weekend as well. But look forward to seeing you there. Look forward to seeing what God is going to do this weekend. Have a blessed week.